Hi there, welcome to the Polygon Wyckoff technical analysis session, and we're looking at the Polygon chart right now. And last week we already asked the question, is it near the time for it to eventually or finally comes to a new distribution cycle? Looking at the chart, there may still be some time for it to develop, but something has already happened that maybe is getting near. So let's quickly take a look. This is the weekly chart of Polygon. Previously we have asked this question, and the thing that I mentioned is happening both in the weekly and daily chart. We'll come to the daily chart in a minute. But the weekly chart, if we look at this, the purple lines, the staircase-like lines, have gone into the orange, gone inside the orange since beginning of July or mid-July, somewhere around that time. That means their rocket fuel is being pumped into the rocket, and anytime the rocket will launch, by looking at where the level is now, the price level, that is at the prehistorical, like it never has been lower than this. So the hopeful or wishful thinking is the price will shoot up to a point where it's going to show the community or the Polygon supporters that Polygon is still worth investing. Last time we put in this tag over here because that's where the last buying climax back in December 2024 tested. It did not close around the white line, it closed around the key level of 0.7, this yellow key level. So I see if this time it really comes to a new distribution cycle, hopefully it will test a similar level, because if it doesn't, if it tests or ends at a lower level, that would be a disappointing scenario, because for distribution cycles after distribution cycle, the climaxes, the peaks, are getting lower and lower. So the last peak back in December, it should have been somewhere at least here if it follows the trend line. But it's only ending at like 70% of the trend line. So that's not an encouraging sign, because it means the long-term value of Polygon is declining. That it looks that way when you look at how it happens from 2023 to early 2024, and then end of 2024 it dropped to almost half of the value back in the peak back at March. So that's the worrying part about Polygon. So hopefully if it really comes to a distribution, at least the price comes to this point, so people would have a bit of relief that the long-term value, at least as of this moment, staying stable at a similar level back in end of 2024. But as of this moment, it's too early to decide, too early to tell. But the launch is near. So we're looking at this line over here. If I enlarge it further, you see the line crosses the bottom edge of the white box. The long-term playground zone or trading range is around mid-November, but a lot of times the price would jump before that even happens. So when we get closer and closer to November, even if the price continues to trade within narrow range, that's when the launch or the breakout to the downside has to happen. So it's less than 3 months we are talking about, and time or the clock is ticking. Hopefully it will follow the Wyckoff textbook definition, that it will go to the upside, bouncing from this little slope over here instead of going to show us another test, especially if you are bullish for Polygon. Let's go to the micro view. Here we see this horizontal trading happening, but the nearer term we see this uptrend going on, and last time we already put in this tag seeing this kind of horizontal action looks like the backup or last point of supply period. That's the period before the price pump. So looking at the Bollinger Band curve squeeze again, these purple lines, they have definitely entered the orange bracket. So meaning the squeeze has happened once again. So last time the squeeze happened, last couple of times, beginning of July, the price shot up. This, near end of July, the price shot down. So now that we have entered a squeeze, the tricky part is this: the price is at the top edge of the channel. So hopefully it's going to shoot up like this one over here. So that was back in mid-April. The price was somewhere above the center line, and then eventually it shot up. Because a lot of times if the price is at the top and the squeeze happens, the likelihood of going down is higher. And now that we're at the top edge of the channel and the squeeze is starting, hopefully it's not like it's heading towards this side. We hope that it's heading towards this side instead. Not that it can't happen. So here we have this test. Actually, this is not a spring here because the price level is higher than the second test. So I would just call this a test. Because after sign of weakness, even though there may be multiple, a spring can still happen. A spring is a term or a stage where the price comes down for a deep dive, lower than the selling climax or subsequent tests, to a level where the true support is found by the whales. The weaker hands offload all their shares to the whales, and that's where the whales start to build up the actual distribution cycle. There may still be a chance for this to happen if this squeeze really is going to squeeze the price downwards, but it's not that easy to go to the spring because we see this channel box over here, right? So there are two support levels the price has to go through before being able to get to a spring. The first is the bottom edge of this channel box, the upward channel box. The other is this white line over here. That's where the selling climax close was. So that's around 20 cents. If it happens tomorrow or the day after, that's where the double support comes in. So maybe it will find support over here and release some pressure of the squeeze, and then eventually shoots up to the actual distribution cycle. So that's my speculation or wild guess that it may happen that way. Obviously there are many different ways the price can go crazy, and depending on how subjectively you view this, if I change it to a line chart, some people would say this is like a cup and handle situation and the price should go up. No objection to that. That can be one possibility again. And if you are bullish, hopefully that's the case, that this cup and handle is going to bring the price of Polygon once again to its little glory. Not very big, not very massive glory as in beginning of 2024 or 2023. So in summary, hopefully the accumulation is finally over and that we'll see a distribution cycle, and more importantly, the peak of the distribution cycle has to go at least as high as what we have seen last year, instead of staying at a lower level around the orange or even the red level. So those are not levels we would like to see if Polygon is still a project with potential, with healthy community support. So